morning, foodie friends. My name is Sue, and I have nearly 40 years' experience in the Carnival concession business. Today, I'm going to talk about the dreaded health inspection. The thing I want you to remember is the people who are coming in to inspect you are not trying to get you. Be friendly, act interested in what they're saying, and listen, because really, they are the experts, and the things they tell you this year will serve you well during the following seasons as well. I've learned so much since the beginning. In fact, I was in a booth under the grandstand my first year, and the second year at my local fair, I got my own building. And I remember the old health inspector coming in, and he had an apprentice with him, and his name was Robert. And the other day I saw Robert, and Robert's getting ready to retire. So that tells you how long I've been in this industry. So when Robert does an inspection, the first thing he does is he walks into my trailer and he washes his hands. He's setting an example of what you should do when you walk into a trailer from the outside. We don't know if you've been smoking, what you've touched, whatever. If it's us or it's an employee, it's a good habit to wash your hands. And the health inspector will be looking to see if somebody does walk in and they don't wash their hands, you'll lose a point for it, I guarantee. Okay, the first thing Robert does is he walks over and he washes his hands. He uses the soap, he turns on the hot water, and he uses the paper towels. When he's done, he throws the paper towels into the trash can. So let's think about the points we've just earned or possibly lost, however you want to look at this. Okay, so he's checked for a hand sink. He's checked for hot water. He's checked for soap. He's checked for paper towels. And he's thrown the trash away, checking to see if we have a cover on our trash can. Boy, this is nitpicky, but I have lost points on inspections because my trash cans were not covered. So I'm going to include that there. Cover trash cans. So let's look at this. Wash hands, hand sink, hot water, soap, paper towels, and cover trash cans. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points right there. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about, we're going to stay in the sink mode here, but we're going to talk about your 3-basin sink. So, first thing, he's going to check 3-bay sink. Again, he's going to check, do you have hot water? And hot water is a really big deal, and if you don't have hot water, they may not let you open or they may close you down. Alternately, they may give you a window and say, get it fixed within the next 3 hours, I'm going to circle back, and they will circle back. So hot water is a really big deal. The 3-bay sinks, you don't need the giant ones like you'd have in a restaurant because you just don't have enough room. You can have the small sinks. Honestly, they're not as great because you're supposed to be able to wash your largest pot or pan in the sinks. And that's just not going to happen in a small sink, but you'll make do. You'll find a way to get everything clean. So they're somewhat forgiving there. Not forgiving on the hot water. And you also make sure you have a faucet that will reach all 3 sinks. Don't cheap out if you're doing it yourself and put in a little bathroom fixture because it was much cheaper at Home Depot. You need to get water to all 3 sinks. So you need a long neck faucet. And you should label your sinks. They love to see them labeled. I'm not saying you lose a point, but you'll gain points with them in general if your sinks are labeled. And it's handy for anyone doing dishes. So you've got your soak sink, your wash sink, and your rinse sink. And believe it or not, the most important sink is your rinse sink. So for your rinse sink, they're going to be looking for, do you have your test strips? Do you have your food grade bleach solution? And are your proportions correct? So your test strips come in a little bottle. It looks almost like a aspirin bottle. There's, I think, 50 strips in the bottle. I think it's about $5 on Amazon. You can get them from your food provider. They have half a dozen colors on them. And when you put your test strip into your water, it will tell you if your solution's too strong or too weak. Honestly, I've never done that in my life except when the food inspector is there. But they want to see those, and you will lose points if you don't have those strips. The second thing is your solution. Okay, what solution are you going to use to rinse your dishes? It's got to be food grade bleach is what it is. And again, it comes in a gallon jug. You can get 4 gallons from your food provider. That'll easily last you all season. So the important thing here is getting the proportions right. So it's read the proportions. Proportions. I think the one I use is a cap full of bleach to a gallon of water. So once you've done it a few times, you can kind of approximate. So I've had, at the beginning of my career, I had all kinds of mishaps in this particular area. First year he came in, I didn't have the test strips, lost a point. Next year he came in, I proudly showed him the test strips. He said, okay, let's test your water. I'd filled up the sink, put the stuff in. I knew it was in there. I knew I was good to go. He stuck it in. He looked at it. He said, what do you think? And it had gone registered way up at the end, bright purple. And I said, looks good. He said, it's not good. You want to be right in the middle. He said, you have way too much solution in here. He said, try again. So I emptied it out again, poured in my bleach. And he said, what are you using? I said, bleach. Well, I was using Clorox bleach, and Clorox bleach is not acceptable. You need food grade bleach. So again, more points lost. So the early beginning of my career was a little rocky, but once I knew what I was supposed to do, I always made sure I had the food grade bleach. I always made sure I read the directions. So if I had to set up the water, it was all ready to. Sometimes I just set it up and let it sit there till it came. So I knew it was right, and I had the test strips to prove it. So that's 3 easy points right there to lose or gain. So let's recap here. 3-bay sink, hot water, long neck faucet, label your sinks, have your test strips, have your solution, and have it in the right proportion. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We had 6 on the first page. We have 7 now, and we're going to do one other area. And we're going to look at food temps. Okay, so start with cold. He's going to check your freezer. He has a digital thermometer, but really he can touch the food and see if it's hard, but he'll probably still shoot it. So your freezer has to be the right temperature. Your coolers have to be the right temperature. So freezer, coolers. What's the right temperature? The right temperature on keeping your food cool. You don't want it frozen, so it can't be at 32. This has got to be 32 or less. Your coolers have to be greater than 32, but less than 41. So somewhere between 32 and 41 is the optimum. I am telling you, if he comes in and your food is not where it should be as far as temperature, he will make you throw everything out. It's never happened to me, but I have seen it happen, and it's heartbreaking. And I've seen vendors, I haven't seen them, I shouldn't say that. I've never seen a vendor do this, but I know vendors who've had their food thrown out. As soon as the inspector's out of sight, they go in the trash can and get it back out. Disgusting, right? So now they take a gallon of your food grade bleach and they watch you put it in the trash can, then they cover it with bleach. So it cannot be served. If food is not kept at the right temperature, you will get foodborne illness from it, and it won't be a good thing. So the best way to do this, and what the health department requires, is that you have thermometers in every cooler. If the newer fridges come with thermometers built in, the older ones do not. The older equipment does not. You can go to the Dollar Tree and get yourself a thermometer there. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It just has to be in there. And believe me, there are times when you're going to come in the morning and you're going to open that fridge and say, I know, I'm not sure this is up to temp. And you can look right then, check your thermometer, and you'll know if it is or not. So it really is a handy thing. But they are going to check every one of your coolers for a thermometer. Okay, now it's not just cold food, keeping food cold. It's also keeping food hot. And I have a funny little story on that as well. Okay, so when you're holding food, it has to be at 135 degrees or warmer. So holding temp, 135, greater than 135, okay? Again, you don't want to be in that middle area where it's too warm, but it's not warm enough, because that's where food spoils. So When I first started out again in my famous building where we did meals, we did a meal every day because we were down near the barns and farmers love to eat hearty food. So I'd made a meatloaf dinner. I'd taken the meatloaf out of the oven, put it in the steam table. Made the mashed potatoes, made the gravy, all loaded in the steam table. And right before the inspector came, I opened a number 10 can of green beans and dumped it in there. And in he comes and he uses this digital thermometer and shoots the meatloaf fine, potatoes fine, gravy fine, shoots the green beans, and he says these aren't up to temp. And I said, I know, I just put them in. And he looked at me like I had three heads and said, that doesn't make sense. They're not up to temp. Well, what he was trying to say and what I learned that day after I lost more points on my inspection sheet, you have to heat the food up to temp before you put it in the steam table. Just didn't know that. So whether it's a steam table or it's one of those glass cases where you put like chicken tenders and french fries in, see them at convenience stores, the food has to be kept at 135. But you can't expect, for instance, a steam table. I expected that would bring it up. And I think eventually it would have. But that's not the process that they want. So I remember that day he let me dump them in a pot on the stove and heat them up. He's really a good guy. But I presume because it was green beans and he wasn't really worried about me poisoning anyone. But something to remember is that's another easy way to lose points. The final thing I'm going to say here, and some inspectors may require this or look for this, others may not. They like it if your equipment is on wheels. So they're thinking if it's on wheels that you're pulling it out every night or every week. I'm not really sure how often they think we're doing it. Honestly, I do it probably as often as I clean behind my refrigerator in my own kitchen at my house. So we're not going to say how often that is, but it's not every week. What I do, of course, is sweep under, for instance, the salad bar. Sweep under it, of course, every night. And it does get pulled out during the season several times so you can clean behind it. But if it's on wheels, it's much easier. And if you're using a household fridge, it's not going to be on wheels. I don't know if you're going to lose points for that or not. But if you're buying commercial equipment, it will be on wheels, and the health department will like that. So I'm just going to put wheels here. And so we had 6 on the first page, we had 7 on the second page, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. That's 18 points. Easy to keep those points or easy to lose those points. Just keep in mind when the health guy comes in, or gal, be friendly, be upbeat. They're doing a job, and really they're protecting the public, because if you go out to eat somewhere, don't you want to know that the kitchen is clean, that they're following all the procedures? Of course you do. So take it as a learning experience. I have received 100, but I almost never get 100 because, come on, they're finding something. Honestly, sometimes I leave something so I know they'll find it, so I don't get 100. It makes them happy. I'm fine with it. So take a deep breath when you see them come to your door. It's time for your health inspection. It's not a big deal. Take it as a learning experience and hit it out of the park. Thanks. Oh, one other thing. I have a link down below for a long list of many pointers that have to do with the health inspection. So check it out and let me know what you think. It's free. Thanks. Have a great day.